Alright, so here's part 2, or I guess the beginning of part 2, the fifth element knife. So I got all the rough forging done and profiled it. So here's the overall shape. Just kind of what it looks like in the hand. So you can see I forged it down pretty thin to the edge, so there should be minimal grinding. Got a little thick right here. That's okay, because that's kind of where most of your chopping will be done. If you're hacking branches or whatever, so a little bit stouter edge profile. There's not a big deal. You can't really see it because the forge scale is so thick on here. There is a fuller. It's kind of shallow, but it's real wide. It runs down the blade here on both sides. And the plunge lines are forged in. So you can feel it, but you can't really see it on camera. Let's see if we can rotate. Kind of see how it plunges in. Kind of see, I think you can see the fuller a little bit better on this side. It's just the deep groove that runs down the blade. Got our swedge, false edge here on the top. It's all forged in, so it goes down fairly down. I had to reprofile it some. So here's the pattern we were working towards. Actually, that was my hand. So here's the pattern we're working towards. So it's not exact, which is fine. This one's a little leaner profile. Just a little thinner. Curve on the, I guess the straight will be the straighter part of the knife. So I kind of like the curve a little better. Plus it makes it really, really hard to sharpen it, so that'll be fun. And then I laid out the handle where it's going to go. I just use a Sharpie marker. Kind of hold it in my hand, figure out where I want the end of the handle to go. Then I take the Sharpie, use my finger as a guide to set how far in I want those pinholes, and then run my finger down it. Run the back side, this side too. Then I come in about 3/4 of an inch, half an inch, somewhere in there, and set the first holes, just mark a dot. And I go all the way to the end here, where those lines cross. That's where those pins will go. Kind of split the difference between the two to set the center pins. So there'll be 6 1/8" pins. We're going to use curly maple for the handle. And for the pins, I have mild steel. It's 1/8" pin stock. So the fun thing about that is when you drill holes for 1/8" pin stock, doesn't matter what kind of material you're using, if it's mild steel, brass, bronze, whatever you're going to use. If you use an 1/8" drill bit to drill the hole, then your 1/8" pin won't fit. So I use a 9/16. I think that's what it is. Let's see. Well, it's in the drill, so hang on. I think it's 9/16. Or 9/64 maybe. Yeah, 9/64. So 9/64 is this drill bit size you want for drilling 1/8" pins. If you're using a 1/4 inch, I don't know what the next size I have is way bigger. I usually just use a 1/4 inch drill bit if I'm using 1/4 inch pins, and then ream it out a little. Let's see, this is a better set, so probably 15/64. So it'd be about a 64th over. So the pin will go in there, no problem. You don't have to fight it. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at right now. I was gonna film more of like the actual forging process, but like a fool, I was uploading the first video out here in the garage, and it took as long to upload the video as it did to forge out the rest of the knife. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So my next step is clean all this forge scale off. I've done one, I guess, thermocycle. After I got done forging, I just brought it back up to probably about 1500 degrees or so, and then just let it cool all the way down to room temperature. Kind of relax the steel. After I'd gotten it straight in the vise, it's pretty straight. Nice straight blade. So after I got it all straightened out, I brought it up to temperature and then just clamped it in the vise, let it cool down to room temperature, which today is like 75 and about an 85% chance of rain, something like that. So that's room temperature today. Then I kind of drew out my profile on the outer edge of the knife where I wanted it to go, and then ground it to shape on the grinder. Used a 36 grit belt, I guess. Just kind of got it all profiled. And so then the next thing I'll do is blast all the forge scale off of it, get it down to clean metal. So I'll probably use a wire wheel or maybe a little pneumatic air needler thing. I don't know where it is. It's over here in this mess somewhere. Anyway, knock all that forge scale off, and then I'll do my 3 normalization cycles, which for that I bring it up to 1500. Let's see. Oh, it's inside. Never mind. I use table salt to kind of judge my temperature of my forge. I don't have a pyrometer or anything. I have a thermal gun with a little laser. There's the laser. But it only goes up to about 1200 degrees. So I need to go a little hotter than that. So I use table salt. I sprinkle it on the blade when I think I'm getting close. Usually out here under this light, it's kind of a reddish color, starting to turn orange. That's pretty close. And so I'll sprinkle table salt on it. Table salt melts at 1475 degrees. So when you see the little sprinkles of salt go on there and then they liquefy, you're pretty dang close. So I usually give it a couple more seconds in the forge, and that brings it up to about 1500. When I do the normalization cycles, then I'll pull it out and then clamp it in our handy dandy post vise, and then let it drop down below 400 degrees. You can go all the way to room temperature if you want to, but I'm usually kind of impatient in a hurry. So I let it get down below 400 and then do the second and third cycles just like that. Do 3 of them at 1500. And that helps kind of relax the steel. It also helps tighten up the grain structure of your steel inside. I think we've done a video on that before where we had some issues with some grain. A good example is that leaf spring that we used the other day to make that spring for James's vise. We just did one thermocycle on it, one normalization cycle. So you can see that grain structure is real rough. So if you do 3 of them and you don't overcook it, it'll look, I don't have anything I broke that has good grain structure. It should look more like sand, not sand, more like kind of like powdered sugar. It should be really solid, like one piece of metal in there. The best thing to do would be get a heat treat kiln that will go up to, the right temperature range. They're kind of expensive, so I don't have one yet. It is on the list of cool stuff to buy for Evil Shenanigans. But as of right now, I'm kind of doing the best I can with what I got and trying to learn from it and improve as much as I can. So I use that table salt as a pretty good judge of temperature. And we did just invest in some AAA clinch it. This stuff is no joke. It's certainly not cheap, but it is actually made for doing this, so you'll get really good results out of it. I was using canola oil before, and it just doesn't last very long, and I don't think you get the hardness. You know, you're not getting the full potential of your steel. So buy the good stuff when you can. You know, upgrade, get the most out of your materials. So anyway, that's kind of where we are. So I'll probably try to do some more filming here shortly. We do the normalization cycles, so kind of see what I'm talking about with the salt. It's pretty cool. It's neat to watch that. But there we go. Be sure to tell all your friends. Get on our YouTube channel, Evil Shenanigans Blacksmithing Videos, and like the channel, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, and put comments under the video. Let us know how it's going, what you're up to, if you're making some stuff, you know, kind of what you think of our videos. And I think we're gonna go for, the contest is gonna open up when we hit 100 subscribers. We're at about 30 or so now, I think. So we hit 100 subscribers, that's when we'll do the giveaway. So start enlisting some of your friends. Tell them to go subscribe to our channel so you can win the knife, or they can. I know that's not what I said in the first video, but I've changed my mind a little.
I am altering the deed. Pray I don't alter it any further.
Go.
All right, so we're gonna continue on with the fifth element knife. So I've already done one normalization cycle, so we're gonna continue our heat treat process. I got the forge warmed up, so we're gonna do 2 more normalization cycles. So come here and look at the air vents. So I've got the back burner, the air vents it's about halfway closed on it, so it's running a little cooler on the back side. So hopefully I don't overcook the tip because it's already pretty fine. That's the whole idea anyway. So we're just gonna bring it up to about 1500 degrees. I'll show you how the salt trick works. And then we'll pull it out, clamp it in the vise, and let it cool down. We'll do that 2 more times. This time 1 more time. So when you're bringing your knife up to heat, you want to heat up the entire blade. So you're going to have to kind of work it in and out. It'll take you a minute, because it's all the way cool. A lot of knife making is standing around waiting on something to happen.
Yeah. Wait, where did you put the knife? Oh yeah, it's over there.
It's in the fire. Minnie Shenanigans is our camera operator today. She's the one who put the intro together for our videos. So leave a comment. Let her know what you think about our intro. So when are you gonna make a knife for Daddy?
I don't know.
You already have 2 knots.
Yeah, I
2 Evil
do.
Shenanigans knots anyway, huh?
Yeah.
Alright, so just kind of working it back and forth to try to get the temperature up along the entire blade and up into the handle. You don't really have to harden the handle, but you want to make sure your hardness line when you quench is up past your cutting edge. It's better if you can heat the whole thing up to the same temperature. It's kind of a little forge, and this is a big old knife. dull red color. I'll show you how the salt trick works. You sprinkle some salt on there. You see it's still solid. So it's not up quite to the temperature we're looking for. We'll just put it back in there. It'll kind of stick to it now. And just continue what you're doing. You're just waiting for those salt granules to liquefy. And that means you're right at your 1500 degree range.
Wait, I just noticed this is just science.
Yep.
Wait, pretty much everything we do in life is science, honestly.
Pretty much.
It's kind of cool.
Yep, a lot of this is science.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's magic.
Yeah.
Looks like magic.
Yeah, it kind of does, though.
Alright, so we're just going to clamp it in the vise. I've got angle iron in there just to kind of act as a little bit of a straightening jig. We'll just clamp it along the spine. Now you can kind of check it, see if it's warped. Here, come shoot right down the handle. It's better if you look from the tip, but basically you're looking for the end of your handle and your blade all to be kind of center mass. This was straight when we put it in there, but sometimes they'll kind of bow a little bit during heat treat. But we've already done basically 2 normalization cycles already. We're doing kind of an extra one because I stamped our touch mark on one side of it today and kind of tweaked it just a little bit, so I wanted to go ahead and do another one just because we put it under some more stress. But if you do all your thermal cycles, your normalization cycles and everything, you probably won't get a warp on the quench. Alright, so I'm checking it with the temperature gun. See when we drop down below 400 degrees. We're still around 500 or so right now. So we'll give it a little bit.
Whew, it's hot in here. I don't know how you get used to it.
You know, it's just hot.
Oh.
It's always hot. It's a big fire right there.
Yeah.
You gonna make it?
Yeah.
You gonna pass out on it?
I'm not gonna pass out.
Alright, let's see where we are. Still got a little ways to go. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and prep our quench oil. So this, you don't want to plunge your knife into room temperature oil because it won't quench very well. So you bring your oil up to about 130 degrees. This is not the best way to do it. Heat up a piece of steel and put it in there and stir it around and everything, but you're really just breaking down your oil faster than you need to. You do it like this, AAA and parts 50 will pretty well last forever. 40 degrees, which is about right, because by the time we do another thermal cycle, it'll still be on the 130 mark. Alright, so we just do the whole thing again.
Wait, where did you get this like phone stand thing? It's nice, honestly.
Best Buy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We're getting close. Sprinkle a little science on there. My favorite part of that is when you throw the salt in there and put it back in the fire, it turns the flames yellow. It's kind of fun.
How many subscribers do you have now?
I don't know. I haven't checked it. We're pretty close to 30, I think.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Exciting. Didn't you say like 100 for like for something?
Yeah, that's the goal. When we
Okay.
hit 100, then we'll give this knife away. Alright, so we're all liquefied across the whole blade. So now we'll just clamp it. Clamp it this direction so we can look from the tip. So when you're checking this out, doing your thermal cycles, if you have picked up a wart, you can go ahead and straighten it. Take your tongs or whatever, bend it over a little bit, tap it with a hammer. Whatever you gotta do. That's nice and straight though. Like it's holding its shape. It's not wanting to warp on us. It's good. Alright, we're good.
Wait, it's not so hot anymore.
No, it's not too bad. The wind changed direction. It's blowing in the shop on us.
Oh yeah.
Also, see, we're still way hot.
Oh.
That's why I've heard the way I was taught originally was you heat it up and let it cool down to black heat, which means it's still hot, but you can't see it glowing.
Yeah.
Black heat, as you can see from here, is still like, 800-900 degrees. like that. So you're still too hot. You want the temperature to dip down below that 400 mark.
Yeah.
If you can, if you got time, you can go all the way to room temperature.
Uh-huh.
Alright, so the next thing we do is we'll quench it. Basically, we're going to do the same thing. We'll bring it up to about 1500 degrees. And we're going to quench it in the AAA. Leave it in there long enough for it to cool. Don't just plunge it and take it right back out. Number one, you'll get a big fireball that way.
Yeah.
The flash point on AAA is like 360 degrees or 380 degrees, something like that. So your knife, if you plunge it in there, you can see it takes a while for it to cool down. It'll still be 600-700 degrees. You gotta give it time to cool so it'll harden. Alright. Alright, here we go. Alright, so I always start off, this is the thickest part of the knife. It's this transition point right here. So I start off with that under the flame. That's going to take the longest to heat up. So more or less, once you get that section glowing, then you start moving it back and forth and paint that heat over that entire blade. The longer your blade, the harder it is to do that, though, honestly.
It's so hot out here.
Is that why you haven't made a knife with me yet? Is it so hot?
Yeah. Like, I don't know how you can stand the heat. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so hot.
It's just fun.
It is fun, though.
Close. So it all melted. So just give it just a little bit longer. We got a nice even color across the whole cutting surface, except for right there. rotating it up and down like that keeps the oil, so when you plunge something in there that hot, it makes like a vapor barrier around it. So this breaks up that barrier so you cool off enough that the knife will actually get hard. All right, and we're just gonna come bring it over here. We're gonna clamp it back in the jig.
Wait, is it actually called that?
Yep, it's a straightening jig.
Oh.
All right, everything's nice and straight. I'm not gonna clamp the whole blade in there because it tapers down so much to the cutting edge you can't hold it flat. The knife tapers this way and the tang tapers that way, so you can't hold it straight. So I'm just clamping it by the spine. If you put a tapered tang and a distal taper out towards the tip and try to clamp it between an angle iron, you'll pull it to one side or the other and you'll actually end up warping that knife. I found out that the hard way.
Yeah.
All right, now the next most important thing in your heat treat, once you've quenched it and you've got it locked in the vise, is to leave it alone. Don't try to file check it right now. It's probably not hard enough yet. It has to have time to cool down for the metal to actually get hard. Once you pull it out and it's still, 700-800 degrees or whatever, your file may not skate across it. So just leave it alone.
For how long?
Oh, I usually leave it probably 15-20 minutes, something like that, where you can pretty well pick it up by hand.
Yeah.
Then we'll get all the grease wiped off of it, and the next step, almost immediately after this, I'll get it all cleaned up, because that AAA I don't want to put in the kitchen oven because it stinks.
Yeah.
When you use canola oil, it just smells like French fries.
Oh, that sounds nice though.
But when you do this, it smells like industrial oil.
Oh.
We don't want that in our kitchen.
No.
I just use the kitchen oven for the temper cycles, because right now, once this is, we'll file check it, but once it's hardened, it's kind of like glass. It's super hard, but it's brittle. So you have to draw back that hardness a little bit so it'll be usable as a knife or a tool, and it won't just shatter as soon as you hit something hard with it. So we'll put it in the kitchen oven, and I think I'll temper this one at 375 for an hour and a half, and then pull it out, let it cool down, and then put it back in for another hour and a half at 375. That should be pretty hard blade, but still have a little bit of flex. I think in the video, he tempers these things at 350. His are a little bit taller, and he starts with 1/4 inch material. This is 3/16, so it's a little bit narrower. This is a little bit thinner profile on the blade, so I'll draw it back just a little bit more. I don't want it to be too brittle. I think so far I've gotten really good results at the 375 temperature range. Let's see here. Get all that carbon off there. All right, that shapes the file pretty nice. Basically, you can't change the shape of the metal with the file, so that means your metal is harder than this file. According to the heat treat schedule for ADC RV2, you should be right about, I think, 62 Rockwell by the time we quench it and then temper it at 375. Either be upper or be lower 60s or upper 50s, give or take. We're close on our temperatures, so it may vary just a little bit. But. So yeah, next step is I'll just kind of clean it up, degrease it, and then we'll do our 2 temper cycles in the oven. So I think this will probably wrap up part 2. So remember, go tell your friends, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got like 300 followers on Facebook. So all we need is like, 70 or so to jump on board to Evil Shenanigans blacksmithing videos. And then we will give this knife away once I finish it, of course.
Yeah.
It's not, you wouldn't really want it right now.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to use.
Yeah.
So our next video will probably be, it'll be a while before we can do our next one. We got a lot going on this weekend. The rest of this week and this weekend are going to be really busy. Mrs. Shenanigans is graduating with her master's in business. And so a bunch of her family's coming into town to kind of celebrate that. So we won't be out here in the world headquarters and training center for the next few days. But I'll go ahead and get that tempered because I don't want to let it sit around while it's been hardened. That's a good way to actually knock it off of something and break it. So we'll get it tempered up and so that it can just sit for a while and be all right. But I've got some cool pin material ordered, so it's gonna have, I think, carbon fiber pins. We're still gonna use the curly maple handles. Let's see. I think this one right here, as a matter of fact.
Are you gonna use that?
I think we're gonna use that one.
Oh, that looks
This
pretty.
should have a bunch of curly mapleness to it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah,
I
exciting.
think it'll look cool with carbon fiber pins.
Yeah.
I don't like the carbon fiber pins. I've got copper pins ordered too, so
Yeah.
I want to do something other than the mild steel that I've been using. So anyway, all right. Well, like our channel, like the video, give us some comments, get your friends to subscribe. Maybe you'll win this knife. So I'm thinking it'll probably be ready in a week or two, give or take. Just depends on how everything goes.
Yeah, how busy everybody is,
Yeah.
all that stuff, you know.
Because you're always doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. And we'll see you on the next episode.
All right, bye.